Happy New Year, City Life. My name is Tika, and I am so excited that you are starting 2023 off with us today. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome. Take some time and scan the QR code that's popping up on the screen, or check out the video description to get more information about us. We typically meet in person at our South Philly location at 9:30 and 11:15 every Sunday morning. And we also stream those services right here on our YouTube page. Next week, we have the awesome opportunity to kick off 21 days of prayer. If your New Year's resolution was to spend more time with God and develop your prayer life, this is the perfect opportunity to do that. We have prayer devotionals for every day, including videos from our pastors, Pastor Brad and Leah. If you would like to opt in to our daily text reminders, you can take out your phone right now and text PRAY21, all one word. That's PRAY21 to the number popping up on the screen. You can also visit the City Life website for more details, including upcoming prayer events. City Life, you are such a radically generous church. We ended the year so strong with your above and beyond giving to Kingdom Builders. With your support, we were able to fund projects both internationally and locally that made a huge difference in the lives of so many. Next week, you will get the opportunity to learn about our 2023 projects and goals, including learning about our vision and dream for the next year. Maybe you decided to name your year. This might be your year of brave or year of joy. City Life named their year too, and we are so excited to share that word with you next Sunday. What do you think it's going to be? Put your guess in the chat. Now, let's worship together. Everyone, get up off the couch. I know you're probably nice and cozy, but let's get up and enter in some praise and worship with the City Life worship team.
This is my comfort, this is my rest. My God's a redeemer when I'm at my end. God is my strong place, my greatest defense. When I'm lost in the struggle, oh, I've seen your hand. God, you're unchanging, forever reigning. Your love sustaining my life. I'm grateful to know that you are my hope. No greater joy for me to know you're a promise keeper, faithful redeemer, my promise keeper. Everlasting Father, everlasting Son, this worship's for Jesus, where the battle is won. It's a real resurrection Jesus completed for me. Nothing more eternal than the enemy's defeat. God, you're unchanging, forever reigning. Your love sustaining my life. I'm grateful to know that you are my hope. No greater joy for me to know you're a promise keeper, faithful redeemer, my promise keeper. That's who you are, God. Keep your promises. You're faithful through every generation. How could I not thank you and pour out my praise? This freedom we live in, the gift of His name. And I see my future of eternal life. How could I not dance, God, with your throne inside? How could I not thank you and pour out my praise? This freedom we live in, the gift of His name. And I see my future of eternal life. How could I not dance, God, with your throne inside? How could I not dance, God, with your throne inside. God, you're unchanging, forever reigning, your love sustaining my life. And I'm grateful to know that you are my hope. No greater joy for me to know you're a promise keeper, faithful redeemer, my promise keeper. Sing, you're a promise keeper, you're a promise keeper, faithful redeemer, my promise keeper.
Oh, we praise you, Lord. Oh, we love you, Lord.
Yes, God.
I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. In all my days, I am held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, and I will sing in the goodness of God. Sing all my life. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, the goodness of God. I love your voice, and you have led me through the fire in the darkest night. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father, I've known you as a friend, and I will live in the goodness of God. And all my life, oh, and all my life you have been faithful. All my life, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, and I will sing of the goodness of God. And all my life, and all my life you have been faithful. Oh, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness, 'cause your goodness is running after, it's running after me. And your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Sing that again. And your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Oh, and your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you my everything. And your goodness is running after, it's running after me. It's running after me, yeah. Oh. Come on, can we just sing that chorus one more time? All my life. Oh. And all my life you have been faithful. All my life, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God.
God, you're so good to us day after day, year after year. God, we praise you for this new year, for this new opportunity to see your goodness running after us, God. We declare that right now. Over the times this year when we may not have the strength to believe it, God, we declare it right now that we know it's true, that you pursue us with goodness, you pursue us with mercy and love. Your mercies are new every morning. We receive them today, and we love you, God, and we thank you so much for the gift of your presence. In your name, amen.
What's up, City Life? Happy New Year. Thank you for taking some time out of your New Year's celebration just to connect with us virtually as a church family. We've got so much to look forward to this year, and I can't wait to get it all kicked off together with you. Next weekend, we're going to be back to our live in-person weekend services, and we're kicking off a brand new series. Now, I'm not going to tell you the name of the series yet, because it's named after our word for the year. And I'm going to unveil it next Sunday on Vision Sunday live, so we can all hear it together at the same time. And I don't want you to miss it. Earlier this fall, God put this word on my heart for our church in 2023. And I believe it's going to be a catalyst to launch us into all that God wants to do in your life and our church this year. This next Sunday, we'll also be making some special announcements about some big things that are coming up for our church this year. We're going to be kicking off 21 days of prayer. And so if you've been around City Life for a while, you know we always start the new year with 21 days of prayer. It really is just a sacred season of time that we set aside to focus on our relationship with God, focus on prayer, and to start the new year by intentionally abiding in Jesus. So if you're new to City Life, I want to invite you to go all in with us these next 3 weeks and to set your sails to move into a new year through worship and prayer and great faith in God. And so here are the dates for 21 days of prayer coming up on the screens, January 8th through 29, starting next Sunday. And during 21 days, we're going to have live in-person prayer on Wednesday nights. We will have daily videos coming out that you can watch and scripture declarations for you to pray with the church family. And I want to encourage you to think about fasting with us. And I mention that now because it really does require preparation in order to fast well. But if you're new to the idea of fasting and the power it can bring into your life when you couple it together with prayer, there's actually a masterclass we created with 7 teachings that I wrote on the breakthrough power of fasting and some accompanying resources, and you can complete that on our website through our Pursuit platform. And so if you're willing, to incorporate fasting into your 21 days of prayer experience, I'd encourage you to check that out. Now, I want to share a message with you today that I hope will really inspire you, and I'm going to make it really practical so that you can come out of 2022 and into 2023 intentionally, because God really cares about the endings and the beginnings of our lives. There's a song that you probably heard, you probably sang it this weekend, you probably heard it and sang it last night up at midnight watching the ball drop, and it always pops up at New Year's, and the sound sounds something like this. Isn't that, it's Auld Lang Syne, right? But here are the words to the song. Should auld acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind, should auld acquaintance be forgot in days of Auld Lang Syne. Now, most of us probably don't really even know what it means when we start to sing it. I know I didn't. Historians actually call it the song that nobody knows. But we'll try to sing it, as the ball's dropping on New Year's. And it's a song that was first written by a Scotsman named Robert Burns. And Auld Lang Syne is Scottish, that simply means for old long since, but basically means times gone by. And what the song is asking is really powerful. What should be remembered and what should be forgotten? It's a profound question if you think about it. And so in the message today, I want to ask these two questions this way. What should we bring with us into 2023, and what should we leave behind? And I hope that these are two questions that you'll think about and pray about as you start the new year. I have a little exercise that I do every year at the end of the year to reflect on the year that's ending and to envision the year that is coming and beginning, because I think that God wants to give us moments in time like this to reflect and just kind of be able to hit the reset button, because God's creative. And if you know him and love him and worship him, you're not just destined to repeat the past. There are some things he's doing in you this year that are good, that should continue into 2023. But then there are some things that need to be discontinued. Some things we just need to have a funeral for them and bury them in 2022 and leave them behind. And so these are the two questions we want to ask. What should we bring with us into 2023? And what should we leave behind? So let me start with some things to leave behind. Number one, I want to encourage you to leave behind old history. I love this promise from God's word, Isaiah 43, verse 18. Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I'm doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? This is such an incredible promise because it teaches us something about God, that our God is a God of new things, who makes all things new. And so there's a promise and a condition. The promise, I'm going to do a new thing in your life. It's going to spring forth. But here's the condition. You've got to forget the former things if you're going to experience it. Don't get obsessed with the old history. Turn the page, because the more you go over your old history, the more you keep on repeating that history. And so it really does start with a choice you can make today to say, I'm not going to let my past dictate and define my future. I'm going to let God get creative and do a new thing and accomplish the purposes and the desires that he has for my future. So we're going to leave behind old history. And then number two, leave behind old hurts, and pain and wounds. This one is a process that God wants to get involved in. And we want to help you experience freedom this year from any wounds or hurts that are holding you back from moving freely and boldly into the future. This isn't about digging up stuff from the past that isn't having an effect on your life today. But there are, for many of us, open wounds or hurts from the past that are still impacting you, that still get triggered when you experience familiar pain, that are still being projected onto the people around you today. And God wants you to experience healing and freedom so you can move into the future without that baggage. And so I don't know the pain that you've experienced specifically. And healing is a process, but it can begin in a moment, just like this. And I want to just put faith in you and in your heart today that if you will give God a heart that may be broken or shattered or fractured or wounded, he can give back to you a heart that is whole and healed and mended and brand new. So let me just ask you, on the first day of a new year, how's your heart? How's your heart? Maybe you need to pray this prayer from God's word, Psalm 51, verse 7. Purify me from my sins, and I will be clean. Wash me, and I will be whiter than snow. Oh, give me back my joy again. You have broken me, now let me rejoice. Don't keep looking at my sin. Remove the stain of my guilt. Create in me a clean heart, O God. Renew a loyal spirit within me. A man named David prayed that prayer after one of the lowest moments of his life, when his heart was broken. He was experiencing overwhelming, crushing shame, guilt, grief, regret, and emotional turmoil. And he had himself, let himself down. He didn't understand God's plan for his life. His heart was hurt. But with courage and honesty, he gave it to God, and he invited God in, and he prayed, God, create in me a clean heart. And I just want to challenge you today, as you start a new year, to make a choice that you're not going to bring a wounded, angry, bitter, guilty, resentful heart into a new year, but that you're going to give your heart to God and let him cleanse it and heal it and renew it and refill it and remake it through his grace and comfort in healing. So we're going to leave behind the old history, the old hurts, and then one more, leave behind old habits. Because all of us, I do, you do, we have some habits that need to go away so that we can bring some new ones in to take their place. And in a new year, it's an awesome opportunity to bury those habits and leave them behind. One of the most powerful ways to do this is through prayer and fasting. Just for a moment, if you can think about, some sinful habit or thought pattern in your life that's been difficult for you to break. Maybe it's some addiction or patterns of anxiety or a habit of gossip, or maybe something as simple as, man, I've just been spending too much time in front of the news. We can all identify with some habits that hold us back, that hinder us from what God has for us, and we can feel powerless at times to change them. But here's what fasting does. It gives us a period of time to set aside some things, to fast some things, and simultaneously it introduces a spiritual power into our lives that can help us break through those habits that have such a strong grip on our behavior. Here's what the Bible says in Isaiah 58. Is not this the kind of fasting I have chosen, to loose the chains of injustice and untie the cords of the yoke, to set the oppressed free and to break every yoke, every habit? Personally, I can't wait for 21 days of prayer, to focus on prayer and fasting and feed my spirit and starve my flesh so I can reset some habits in my own life. Because as we enter a new year, there's a lot of old that can still be attached to us. And so to listen, that you can't go back and undo those things. They happened. But if you decide not to dwell on them, not to let them water down your faith for a new season, you can experience something so brand new and different this year. I love this quote from Pastor Chris Hodges. He said it this way: I can't go back and change the beginning, but I can start where I am and change the ending. I want you to hear that and receive that promise. 2023, I believe, can be a year of change and transformation in your life. So, how do we do this? How do we do this? I want to get really practical and teach you a principle right now that John Maxwell has taught, but I think it's really true and so helpful, because a lot of people will tell you that, experience is the best teacher. Have you heard that maxim? Experience is the best teacher. Well, here's the truth. Experience isn't the best teacher. Because think about it. Everyone has experience. Everyone's getting older and gaining experience in life, but not everyone is simultaneously growing in wisdom or freedom or maturity or faith or purpose. And so it's not experience that's the best teacher. It's this: evaluated experience is the best teacher. You need some time, and this is one of the best opportunities to carve it out in order to evaluate your life. And here's the goal. It's to look back over 2022 and think about the trips you took and the places you visited and the relationships you started and the books that you read and the goals that you set and the wins and the losses and the setbacks and the prayers that were answered, and simply ask the question, what did I learn? What did God teach me this past year? What did God show me? And that's how you can know these experiences won't be wasted. And that's how you can make sure that even as you're getting older, you're also getting wiser and stronger and more forgiving and more loving and more purposeful in your life. And so right now, I want to give you a tool that is so practical. And this is just a dashboard for your life. I modified this and simplified this from Pastor Chris Hodges. It's been so helpful to me, and something I'm doing going into a new year, and something that I think can help you as well. Just as your car has a dashboard with some indicators that tell you how your car's performing, your life needs a dashboard so you can look and see how it's functioning and performing and evaluate your experience. And so I want to give you 10 categories through which just to think about your life. And you can sit down, get a cup of coffee, and for each of these, do two things. First of all, give yourself a grade. Just be honest. If you're crushing it, give yourself an A or a B. Maybe it's a C. You're just kind of coasting. Or maybe it's an area you need to focus on in 2023. And the honest truth is that it's a D or an F. Give yourself a grade so you know where it stands, And then secondly, I want you to write one sentence that describes how you want to invest in that area this year. That's it. You don't have to go crazy, just one sentence. And so here are the 10 areas. Number 1, faith life. And this is just my relationship with God. This is the foundation for all of the rest. How's your relationship with God? And really, you can look at this from 3 directions: your time in God's word, your prayer life, and your worship life. Again, I can't wait for 21 days of prayer to just focus on this and invest in my relationship with God right at the beginning of the year. And so what about you? Give yourself a grade and then just write one sentence that describes what you want to do to invest in your relationship with God this year. Second category is this: family life. And that's just my relationship with my spouse and my family. So if you're married, how's your marriage? The best way to figure that out is to take out your wife, go out with your husband, and just ask them. Sit down with them and ask them, how am I doing? How am I doing? You might want to, let them give you a grade. Let them give you some feedback. Just be ready for the answer. But as you're listening and beginning to learn and grow, if you're single, think about your dating life, or simply evaluate your desires in this area, your hopes, maybe even your disappointments in this area of your life. And then think about your family, your parents, maybe your kids. Here's my sentence for this year for our family. I want to focus on helping our kids embrace our family values. That's what I want to do. A few years ago, Leah and I wrote down our family values. We've got 5 of them, and Leah even turned them into a really beautiful picture that hangs on our wall now. But I haven't done as much as I'd like to help our kids understand and internalize them. And so that's where I want to focus this year. What about you? Number 3 is work life, and that's just my job or my school. And so how's your job? Are you spending the right amount of time at work, on school? Is it in order, in the right order? Or are you underworking or overworking there? Number 4 is digital life, and that's just my time on my devices. Is your phone a tool that you're using that's making your life better? Or has it become maybe your device is something that's a distraction in your life? Even Apple now will give you a weekly report if you pull it up on your time on your phone. Take a look at it. Go back and look and give yourself a grade and decide if you want to make any changes for a new year. Number 5 is ministry life. And this is just my purpose in life. Maybe you're saying, Brad, listen, I'm not in ministry. Yes, you are in ministry. If you're a disciple of Jesus, you are a minister. And so all of us can do something to serve others and to build God's kingdom. Number 6 is financial life. This is my earning, my spending, my saving, my giving. And this is a great time to look at your finances. It's a new year and an opportunity to make a fresh commitment to God, to honor God with the tithe, to say, I'm going to live a generous life and bring him into the center of my finances. Maybe this is an opportunity for you to set some new long-term financial goals for yourself or for your family, to think about how you're saving money and investing for the future. Maybe it's time to revisit your budget or make a new budget and decide how you want to, steward the resources that God has given you this year. Number 7 is social life. And that's just my time with friends and others. And some of you need to invest, honestly, a lot more time in this area. Or maybe you need to recognize that social media is not necessarily the same thing as a social life or relational health. Do you need to build out a deeper community of people in your life this year? Maybe that's going to stand out as your goal. Maybe you've been spending too much of your time with people who actually discourage you spiritually or create distance between you and God, and you need to reorder some relationships, maybe end some relationships or draw some boundaries or start some new ones in 2023. For some of you, the most powerful decision you could make this year is to be honest with a friend. It could be to fill out this worksheet and then to give yourself these grades and then set up lunch or coffee with a friend and let them read it and ask them to hold you accountable to take some next steps this year. Number 8 is creative life, and that's just my dreams and hopes for the future. For me, there's some dreams God's given me for writing that I want to pursue. Maybe there's a side hustle in you or a piece of art or some other dream that you need to create. and express this year and bring into the world this year. Or maybe there's just a dream to go back to school that you need to take a step to pursue. But we're going to let God be creative with our life and our future. Number 9, just 2 more. Number 9 is mental life. And that is my mind and my thoughts. And so ask the question, how's my mental health? Ask the question, what am I allowing to live in my mind? And what are the condition of my thoughts? What's controlling my thoughts? How's my thought life? Are you managing anxiety, or is it controlling you? You know, one of the decisions I think we all need to make going into a new year is simply this, that with God's help, I am going to live with joy this year. I'm going to live with enthusiasm for my life and my future. And where that's absent, to say, God, I'm going to ask you to restore it to me. Have you been dwelling on the negative things in your life? What would it look like to make a choice to make gratitude the tone of your heart, and to make a gratitude list instead of just your brain focusing on the negative, to retrain it for the positive? And so it's a mental life. And then the last one is your physical life. That's my body, my health. And so are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting enough rest? How's your physical health? Does something need to change with your diet? Do you need to switch up your exercise rhythms? And so I hope this helped, because my goal is just to give you some ways to evaluate your life. Because remember, experience is not the best teacher. Evaluated experience is the best teacher. So I'll just leave you with this promise from God's word. I just want to deposit faith in you this New Year's. The Apostle Paul wrote this, and he was actually quoting a verse from Isaiah in the Old Testament. So he wanted to make sure that we got this down. 1 Corinthians 2 verse 9 says this, "No eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind has imagined what God has prepared for those who love him." I hope this encourages you today. For those who love God, who are rooted in him, you can't even imagine what God is preparing for the future. It should change the way you think about the future. God is working in ways you can't detect. You can't see everything he's doing. You can't even imagine everything that he has planned. Your eyes can't see it. Your ears can't hear it. Your mind can't even imagine it. That's how creative God wants to get. I'm just telling you, our God is a creative God, and he can get creative with your life. He can work outside of your limitations. You can't be too broke or too sick or too lost or too confused or too alone or too old or too far gone for God to step in and reinvent your life and your future. Because he is not limited in any of those ways. He exists outside of space and outside of time, and he is a creative creator. Listen, some of you are discouraged, and the reason is that you don't think your life could ever be as good as it used to be. Maybe you lost something, or maybe your life has drastically changed, and you just miss the way that it used to be. And that's the problem. We only have the ability to imagine our lives through the framework of what they used to be, through the framework of what we've already seen, what we've already heard or experienced. But don't you see, God lives totally outside of that framework. He is not bound by your past. He is not limited to what your life used to be. He's a creator, and he works with a blank canvas. And so what he wants to do is not just make your life as good as it used to be. He wants to make it better than it was before. He wants to do something new. He wants to bring into your life a new season. He wants to reinvent some things. And so will you open your mind and heart to God's creativity this year? If you can stop waiting for your life to go back to what it used to be, you can begin to anticipate and expect and watch for the new thing that God wants to creatively speak into your existence for your future. There's one word that I don't want you to miss in that promise that I just read. And so we're going to put it back on the screen one more time. And I've underlined this word that's so important. I don't want you to miss it. Here's what it says, 1 Corinthians 2:9. That's why the scriptures mean when they say, "No eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind has imagined what God has prepared for those who love him." Don't miss that word prepared. The definition of that word, it's just simply to subject something to a special process or treatment. It's how you prepare a great piece of meat or a meal. You get the spices and you invest the time and you let it marinate and you let it slow cook so that it's prepared and ready and tastes delicious. And it's an incredible word that draws an intimate connection between the present and the future. Something is being done today, but with tomorrow in mind, so that it will be ready tomorrow and better tomorrow and more complete tomorrow. One translation says it this way, that no mind can conceive what God has in store. Do you believe that? That God has some things that he's storing up for you, some things you haven't seen yet that are in the future that are waiting for you. That's how God relates to your future. He's getting it ready for you. He is preparing it for you. He's preparing you for the future, and he's preparing your future for you all at the same time. And he's using every experience in your life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, your victories and your regrets. He's using all of them as ingredients in the imaginative recipe that he's cooking up for your future. And you can know this about God. He always saves the best for last. He hasn't peaked. He hasn't aged out of his prime. He is eternal. He's unchanging, and he's actively engaged preparing your future. And all of this, it's what he's doing for those who love him. For those who love him. So I'll leave you just with one more question. Is he your greatest love? That's probably the greatest decision that we could make looking out over a new year. Say, this year, I am going to make God my greatest love. And as you worship him and pursue him and build your life on him, I promise you this, he will not leave you disappointed. Let me pray for you. God, I pray for our City Life family right now. As we kick off a new year, 2023, I pray that you would become our greater love, that you would become our greatest love. And as we seek you and love you, may we receive your love. And I pray right now, God, that some things would be left in 2022, that we wouldn't carry anything over with us that doesn't need to live on into the future. And that you, God, would birth something new in your people, every one of your sons and daughters in 2023, that when we look back over this year in 12 months, we'll be able to look and recognize God was at work in ways that I could never have even predicted. I pray blessing over your people in Jesus' name. Amen. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll see you next Sunday.